Welcome to Cody in the Cinema. Today I'm discussing Sing Sing. This is an A24 film from 2023 about a group of inmates in Sing Sing prison who are using art and the power of theater to enhance their lives. There are really two movies in here, I think. One of them is a movie about prison in some ways, or elements of prison. And I think that part of the film is good. There's another part of the movie that's about the creative process and how it intersects with our lives and how difficult that can be. That part of the movie is truly great and memorable. And the performances in this are just uniformly outstanding. This is some of the best acting you'll see in the entire A24 canon. The two main actors who you're going to be drawn toward the most are Colman Domingo and Clarence Macklin. Clarence Macklin plays this kind of newcomer to the theater scene in this prison, and he's, a little hesitant at first, and he plays that role well. Of course, he's playing, I think, and someone tell me if I'm wrong in the comments, but a version of himself from real life. And it's fascinating how this theater program that's sort of supposed to be a rehabilitation or some kind of process where people connect with their feelings who have maybe been through struggles in prison. It's fascinating how I really didn't focus on that aspect of it too much as I was watching. When I was watching, I was, as someone who's tried to write things, I've messed around with writing fiction on and off for years. I could relate to that struggle of what it's like to try to take the creative process and roll with it. I think that part of the film is universal. I love films that are about the creation of something, or art, or music, or anything like that. I'm reminded of great films like Andrei Rublev that do that. There are a few others that go through my head, like Singing in the Rain does that. But I feel like that part of the film was so true and raw and authentic. When these actors are having exercises together and they're trying to, learn each other, figure out how to get past their own vulnerabilities, figure out like how to make a script work better. There's a whole, should we do a comedy or a drama? What does our audience want to hear? Well, maybe they want to hear a comedy because life's so darn depressing. Parts of this, I thought, gosh, I really want to watch Drive My Car again, where you have all these writers in a room talking about a script. And that part of the movie for me was so captivating, especially the chemistry between these two men. Colman Domingo and Clarence Macklin, I think, have a lot of emotional, weight they have to carry, and they have to go through every level of the spectrum, personality-wise. It just their performances are so good, and so is Sean San Jose. He's really good in it. Every actor is great in it. There are a few things about the prison part of the story it's an interesting choice, and I've heard people react differently to this because the prison aspect of this isn't really like front and center. I mean, obviously they're always in a prison, and there are shots of tight spaces in prison and the cells and the courtyard or whatever, and you get a sense of that, but it's never really the focus. And I think that's mostly good. This is first and foremost a story about what it means to put on a play to try to make life suck a little less. Because this film, I was real scared it was going to do it. I was real scared it was going to say, man, if only people were educated enough and if only they did enough fun, artsy things, their lives would be solved. It doesn't do that. It's very truthful in that art can only help make tough times better or help us reconnect with ourselves. It doesn't solve everything, and I like that. But that really seems to be the focus, like I said. And if you're looking for like a prison drama, I don't think you're going to really get that. And let me compare this to something like Cool Hand Luke. Cool Hand Luke is to me a prison drama. A Man Escaped is a prison drama with sort of thriller and suspense elements from Bresson. This is less about the prison and more about the art. And I appreciated that. I like being able to see that story told in a different context than we are used to. Is it apparent that this art is helping the men? Yes. In fact, there's one really good, really strong scene where the men are sharing some stories together, and someone makes a comment that like it's kind of basically like it's tough for a group of guys to get together and really be able to be vulnerable like that. I mean, it is. The dialogue is sharply written. There are two real there are two things I didn't love about this movie. I didn't think the cinematography was as ambitious as it could have been. There are scenes in here that just to me look like the Last of Us load screen. I felt like there could have been more done with that. I don't know if you all like the visual style of this more. Let me know. It just felt a little underwhelming and a little more basic than it could have been. I understand it's tough to do with the environment, but maybe that's just me nitpicking. I will say that the part that definitely didn't completely land with me was how safe this movie felt. It didn't feel quite as challenging and provoking as some of A24's other work, despite how much heart was in it and despite the strong performances of these actors, which I really want to emphasize. They will draw emotion right out of your soul. It's hard not to be affected by these men and what they're doing. And actually watching them create this art and in difficult circumstances is really beautiful. I always love expression like that in my movies, where I love the play within a play. I've talked about that, I think I did a whole video on movies with a play within a play. Did I? I know I've done a Shakespeare video or two. But that part definitely was great. So for me, like, everybody should be seeing this. Sing Sing is going to be a classic in the A24 canon. It is one of their better films. I don't think it's one of their very best films in that sense all the way around. Now, if we're talking purely the acting and that aspect of it, like if you watch your movies first and foremost for acting, this is going to be a 5 out of 5 for you. I think, because of how strong all of there's not a weak performance in this film. Every actor, every role is captivating, and I think you'll enjoy that. If you feel like another thing, you may have wanted more commentary on the conditions of prison, or that's in there some, and it does have a part of the plot really centers around that. But I just want to emphasize, like, it's not a prison movie first and foremost. So I don't know. This was a 4.5 out of 5 for me. It's definitely a strong film, definitely a good one I'm glad I own and I'm glad I saw. But there were a couple of things I think could have really lifted it into being one of A24's very best films that I just mentioned. I certainly I would love to see more from some of this crew. I don't know how much more these actors would do with film, but I would be interested to see anything else that they would put together. Those are my thoughts. I was wondering what some of your other reactions were to it. If you wanted to, leave a comment if you liked the review, or at least you liked where I was trying to go with it. If you want to click the like button and help grow the channel, I would appreciate that. Consider subscribing if you haven't. I cover a lot of Criterion films, Western films, and then sometimes I dip into these A24s. I've been doing that. I've been really happy with them. I did After Sun, enjoyed that, Zone of Interest. So I love diving into these. My favorite of these is probably Minari. Yeah, I think Minari is still my favorite. So yeah, that's all. We'll see you next time. Cody in the Cinema.